There are so many theories about how to, you know, gain that positivity, how to get patient and how to have compassion and calm. And you can believe I've tried them all. I want to talk about what actually works for me and all the clients that I work with. Think of this as kind of like a mini unofficial study. Every client that I've worked on with this has seen the results. So I want you to think back to a moment recently where something actually went really well in your life, in your household. Maybe one of your kids listened to the first time you told them to do something and it was like, oh, wow, I didn't have to do what I normally do to, get them to put their shoes away. Or maybe you worked through something that normally would have set you off and, flipped a trigger for you. Maybe it was just you had a really good day with your kids and your family and you were just laughing and having a great time. Even if it was just 10, 20 seconds, that moment really matters. But unless you're really intentional about remembering that moment, your brain's not going to hold on to it. And that's a really big reason why we may often feel like nothing is going right, even when we're actually making real progress. So, we're going to talk about why noticing the good in your life, even if it's just the tiniest little bit, is so powerful to rewire your brain for that calm, for that patience and for the compassion. If we kind of zoom out and look at our biology, we are wired for survival. And that means constantly scanning for what's wrong, what could go wrong, what already went wrong, right? We're looking for that pattern that we need to be on alert. And that's called negative bias. It's not a personality flaw. It's just our ancient, inner wisdom that is designed to keep us alive. But when we're talking about the parenting side of it, that wiring can actually work against us. You might have a handful of good moments in your day, but we really fixate on that one meltdown that happened, the attitude and the eye roll. And then we completely overlook the good parts, the quick hug in the morning or, your toddler's giggle as they're reading a book. And when this happens day after day, your nervous system starts to believe that, oh, this is hard. Nothing is working. I'm not a good parent, even when that's not the full truth. There's been studies that show when the mind loops the same thing over and over, the physical biology of the body starts to respond as if it were true and happening, even if it's not. And this is when we get that feeling of being stuck and depressed. So here's the good part. Your brain is not a fixed thing. It's not in a fixed state. It's constantly changing based on what you are focusing on. And this is called neuroplasticity. The more what you focus on will grow. The more you focus on fear, frustration, failure, the stronger those neural pathways will get. But it's also true on the opposite side. When you intentionally notice what's good, what's working, what feels safe, what is bringing me joy, what abundance do I have? This actually just happened to me last week. I woke up one day and I'm like, wow, it just everything was so abundant. Like the food we had, the health we have, outside the grass was green and the trees were so full. I just started noticing abundance everywhere. And you're training your brain to hold on to those experiences and to see those things everywhere. And that doesn't mean that once you get to that spot, it's there and it'll stay there. You kind of have to work at it. But this doesn't mean that you're ignoring the hard moments. You're balancing the story that your brain is telling you. Every time you pause and you feel into that moment of abundance or warmth or connection, you're telling your nervous system like, hey, we're good right now. We're giving your body that break from the chronic stress of always scanning for what's wrong, what's going to come next, when is that next shoe going to drop. You're strengthening those neural pathway circuits for compassion and presence and calm. You're building that muscle. Think of those neural pathways as muscles in your brain. You have, the muscle on this side, that's the fear, the frustration, the have to be on alert. And then you have the muscle over here, that's the compassion, calm, grace, presence. Which one do you want to strengthen? Focus on that one. Over time, these circuits start to fire more easily. The more you work them out, you begin to notice more good, you feel more capable, and you respond with more patience because your nervous system's not living in that emergency, always have to look for, what's coming up anymore. I don't want to drink cold coffee. So this is not a quick fix. If you have moments where it just doesn't seem to be working, I want you to remember that compassion, patience, grace does not grow from pressure. It grows from safety. Safety comes from that constant reassurance, which comes from practice. So when you feel safe in your body, when your brain is not stuck in hyper alert mode, always scanning, you just naturally have more access to that empathy, curiosity, and that warmth. You don't have to force compassion. You don't have to force the calm. You just have to help your body feel safe enough to just let it flow. And the way to do that is keep reminding your brain of the good. Let yourself feel proud of those little tiny wins, even if it's at bedtime. That semi-peaceful moment when you put your toddler to bed and it's like quiet for 5 minutes and they're like, oh yes, maybe they'll actually fall asleep tonight. Even if it's just for 5 minutes before they start their hollering, enjoy that. Let it just be. Or, you know, your child's hug. Let it just be. Let it sink into you. Feel it. This is not like fluffy stuff. This is like simple nervous system repair. So tonight, before you go to bed, take 30 seconds and, focus on the good. What went well today? Even if it was just that couple seconds of connection you had with one of your kids. When did I feel connected with those that I care about? How did that feel? What did I do today that I feel, proud of? What, even if nobody else knew what was going on. And don't just think about it, but let yourself feel it. How did it smell? What was that touch like? What did it feel like in your body? Stay there and just let it marinate in all of the goodness. You're not ignoring the hard. You're giving your body the safety it needs to handle the hard stuff better tomorrow. So this is how we retrain our brains, not by being perfect and getting it all, checked off the list, but just how we practice. And when we practice noticing the good, our nervous system will soften to feel safe. Our patience becomes bigger. Our compassion just becomes our default mode. So keep going, keep noticing. You're not just surviving parenting or life, you're slowly, steadily changing your brain to become the calm, connected parent that you are meant to be.